Sergeant Samuel Johnson was a quiet 23-year-old man from Minnesota when he lost 2 fingers to a mini-ball while serving with Grant at Vicksburg. After the war, he farmed for a while, met, fell in love, and married Mary Hall, a Methodist minister's daughter. But it was the train that took Sam's oldest son, Sam Jr., away from Minnesota forever in 1894. His mother's tears and father's slumped shoulders were no match for the independent 22-year-old's ambitious dreams of a new life in California. Sam Johnson Jr. had saved his money and was able to buy a small plot of land at Shell Beach, now Huntington Beach, where he grew sugar beets that he sold to the American Beet Sugar Company. But Sam's heart was never in farming. With his marriage to Sarah Williamson in 1896, he sold his farm and bought a lot near the ocean. Here they built a house with a small grocery store in the front. During the summers, and especially after the wooden pier was built in 1902, their businesses thrived. They sold sandwiches, general groceries, and bait to the many vacationers and to the many Methodist camp meeting participants. For them, life was good. Weekend pleasure trips to Los Angeles with their children Rebecca and Eddie were frequent once the Pacific Electric cars came to Huntington Beach in 1904. The 1-hour, 6-minute trip to Los Angeles was an exciting adventure and gave the family a chance to use the Los Angeles Library, as Huntington Beach as yet had no library of its own. Stern Miss Christensen was the children's grammar school teacher, and the children excelled under her care. Rebecca eventually joined the debating team at the new high school that had been started in 1907. They called themselves the Pumpkins, and the colors were orange and black. With the children in schools and the family prospering, Sarah became more interested in improving the community. She joined the Huntington Beach Women's Club. By January 1909, the time was right. A mass meeting was called to establish a library for the soon-to-be incorporated city. Sarah, a member of the Women's Club's delegation to that meeting, suggested that a board be established to fund the new library. The motion carried. A constitution was discussed, and trustees of the Library Association Board began their weekly meetings.
Mrs. Hartwell appointed to investigate the matter of buying an old restaurant building for the library. Mr. Everett reported that the vacant Hearn lot at Walnut and Main was the only one available. After discussion, the trustees agreed to buy the building for $150 and move it to the vacant lot. Alma Wilson, Secretary, Library Board.
Immediately, the citizens began donating books and materials. Fundraisers were held at the Methodist Auditorium, and by July, the library was furnished and open for business. Mrs. Edith Brown was the city's first librarian, overseeing 338 volumes and 12 magazine subscriptions. In 1910, Samuel Johnson's father came from Minnesota to the convention of the Southern California Veterans of the Civil War held that year in Huntington Beach. It was the first and last time Sam's father would see his grandchildren.